Hello. We're alive. Hi, everybody. I'm Amanda Call, and I'm here on my channel, and we're gonna draw some comics. This is going to be a page from my comic. This is Age of Night, chapter 29, page 15, and yeah, I have it all ruled out here. I have my script and my thumbnails off to the side here, and so that should be everything we need in order to get going. Uh, if I could figure out what I did with my pencil. Oh, I put it over here. There we go. All right, we can get going. So, last week I did not stream because we had a primary election here in Maine, and so I had to run the election. And then yesterday I was gonna stream and I just had we had a family emergency come up that I am not really at liberty to discuss many details of at this time, other than it is still kind of developing, and we're just kind of waiting to see what's gonna happen at this point. Um, but yeah, just all of the chaos that ensued from that meant that I did not get to stream yesterday because I didn't get home until pretty late, and then I had to do a whole bunch of catch up on just stuff. All right, I don't like what's going on with this guy's pose. Hey, yes. Hey, Matt. Thanks so much for joining me. Stuff do in fact be like that. I'll have to send you a private message later about the stuff and things. Not ready to be public knowledge yet. So what is going on? I don't like this guy's pose. It's making me mad. All right, let's try that again. Why? All right. There's no reason for me to commit to a gesture that I am not liking. Stuff is one thing. It's the things that were really what gets ya. It's true story. Okay, that leg keeps coming too far forward, which is part of the problem here. Because then he's looking all goofy and off center. Okay. That's a start to this one anyway. Okay, we're gonna start the next panel. Anyway, so what's been happening over the last couple of weeks? I had that election. That was, oh my goodness, that was kind of, it was a very long day. So it was a state primary. So we did the presidential primary back in March as part of Super Tuesday. We are part of the Super Tuesday. And so this was like a primary for like your, our state congressman, and then our state level legislature representatives. So like some state senators and state reps, and then like we didn't have governor. That's on the same cycle as presidential here. Or no, it's on the opposite cycle as presidential here. Sorry. Um, we had like a bunch of other random little things like a county commissioner and judge of probate and stuff like that. But the overwhelming majority of the races were unopposed. So it was like I think the entire Democratic ballot was unopposed. There weren't even any declared write-ins. So the way that it works is like you could still write something in, but because there was nobody who was a quote declared write-in category like candidate, then if you did write in a candidate, it was just counted as a blank. Which is just like, okay, so literally the entire Democratic ballot, no point, no point in using it at all. And then on the Republican ballot, there was precisely one. Yes, democracy. There was precisely one race where there was more than one candidate, and the rest of it was all unopposed. And so, big surprise, the turnout was um, extremely sad, and so that made for a very long day because, yeah, we have like maybe 170-ish registered voters. That's an estimate because my voter like I can get like a real number, but for a bunch of technical reasons, it's not 100% accurate. Um, and so I have like roughly 170-ish registered voters, and we had 24 ballots cast. 24. It's pretty sad. And mind you, that was 3 of those were absentee ballots. It's this one particular family that votes absentee, like, every time, and they all vote every single election, they always vote, and it's just always absentee for whatever reason. They just don't wanna come in to the polls, which is fine, that's totally their right. Um Oh, I didn't oh, there's not a good space for the kitty now. That's okay, he doesn't have to be in this one. Anyway, yeah, so 3 absentee ballots, right? Okay, so that brings us down to 21 people who showed up on election day. 4 of those people who showed up on election day were my election clerks. So I had 2 different shifts of 2 people coming into work, and so those 4 people who worked throughout the day, they were the 4 of the other ballots cast. Um So I only had 17 people walk through the door over the course of 12 hours that were not already required to be there. It was very silly. Made for an extremely long day. Hey, it's Alan. What's up, Alan? It is. It is you. It is you, Alan. Oh, are you going to Origins? Are you, like, at Origins already? Is that a thing? Oh, okay, so I guess not since you say you're are Ellen says, "Fuck no." Oh, goodness. Fair enough. I used to enjoy going to Origins just because I went and I ran a bunch of games, and that's why people go to Origins is to play lots of games. They sure as hell don't go to Origins to buy anything, and so if you typically go to conventions to sell stuff, as Alan often does, then, yeah, it's not worth your time. Like, we would when back when Fearlight, RIP Fearlight, was doing things. Oh, nice. Studio 2's there. Okay. That's good. Well, hey, if you can get someone else to go and sell your stuff for you, that's even better. But back when Fearlight would go, there would be like a small army of us running games, and we'd have a couple of people running the booth the whole time, and I think the booth like just barely defrayed maybe some of the cost of us being there. It definitely didn't make the company money by any means. And, like, yeah, I had fun because I was just running games all weekend. That was a good time, but, uh, yeah, not a good show for trying to sell stuff. Okay, but the better question is, Ellen, will I see you at Gen Con? So I'll be at Gen Con. Are you gonna be at Gen Con? Only if I can find. Is this a challenge? Aw, not be at any con ever. Sadness. Sad face. Yes, Alan is one of my friends from the gaming cons. From the gaming sphere, so Alright. Just we're getting there. We're roughing in. We're roughing in all the dudes. So, yeah, I had the election last week. And then this past weekend, I had the Maine Micro Artisans Night Market. So this is the first time that we've had a night market in Bangor, and this is like a thing that happens at a lot of different places where they do like an artists market thing, an artists and crafters market that takes place like in the evening. I've seen this other places, but we had never had one in Bangor before. And the organizers, the folks who run Maine Micro Artisans, Katie and Mary, did an incredible job of like pushing all the promotion and everything. It was advertised all over the place, and we ended up having a really for it. Yes, it is a little bit kind of fey. But yeah, it was really great because they had hoped to have like 1,500 people show up, and estimates were like that it was closer to around 3,000 people who showed up. That's a lot for Bangor. Several of the food trucks had to like pack up and leave early because they ran out of food. They were like, "Sorry, you there were too many of you all. We're done. We're done now." And I made plenty of sales and I had a really great time, and everybody was it was also just like really nice. The weather was mostly, big asterisk there that I'll get into in a minute, was mostly really good. It was not too hot. It was nice and sunny. And since it's, almost the summer solstice, it didn't actually get dark until like 9 o'clock. And then what was nice though was that at 9 o'clock, because everybody brought like their own lighting for their tents. Because it's like a farmer's market or a regular outdoor craft show. Everybody has their little tent. And we were all responsible to bring our own lighting. And so everybody had like all their lots of different types of lights lighting up all of their tents once the sun set. And it was really cool. It was really, really neat. All right. So we've got Thel over here. Do, do, do. So if we have our other character over here, it's going to be like yay tall. Okay. So the one bad thing with the weather was that it was actually quite windy. So this was at the Bangor waterfront, so it's right on the Penobscot River, and we had, oh boy, so much wind. It's SP Tans Comics? Stans Comics? Hello. I don't know how to say your name, I'm sorry. But hello and welcome. And so wind is a little bit of a challenge at one of these outdoor markets. Wind and rain are your big enemies when you have to do these outdoor market things. And like I've done a few of these before and had all sorts of disasters happen because of wind, and so I try to be pretty well prepared. Um and I had a bunch of stuff like I had my tent weighted and and bees. Thankfully no bees. But I had my tent, like, weighted down, and all of my I changed a bunch of my signage, a bunch of signage I just didn't use, a bunch of my fixtures that I normally use at different shows, I just didn't use because it's like, "Well, that's not gonna work. That's gonna be, like, a mess, so we're just not gonna do that." Okay, no problem. And so, like, my little, like it's like a pegboard room divider type thing that I bring to a lot of these events to hang my artwork off of, and I was like, "That's fine because I have it weighted," and then I even, um, tethered the top of it to the frame of my tent, so it literally could not physically fall over. So, like, the top is held in place, the bottom is held in place. It can't actually fall over, right? Okay. But what could happen, which I did not realize was going to be a thing, was that it could, have a big gust of wind push right through it and around it and lift up the framed artwork that was hanging off of it and just yeet the frames off of the room divider and send them flying because they're just hanging from little hooks as you would expect, because that was not a thing I expected to have happen literally ever. And so I had a couple of pieces go flying, and one frame broke, and of course, it couldn't have been like one of the cheapo plastic frames I got for like $10 at Michael's. No, it had to be one with real glass in it. So that was annoying. Thankfully, the glass like cracked but stayed in the frame, so it didn't create like an immediate hazard. It was just annoying, and I have to reframe it now. But, could have been much worse. Definitely could have been much worse. But yeah, so when we realized that that was a thing that we were going to have to contend with, then the strategy became, okay, I guess we have to find some way to have one of us basically always standing next to the wall of framed artwork so that when a particularly strong gust of wind comes, we can just like put our hand on it and hold the frames in place, keep them from flying off, which is very silly, but that's what we had to do. And it worked. We didn't have any further casualties. It just made for kind of a interesting event, having to spend a lot of time making sure that my artwork didn't fly away. Although, so I will say that since this was the first time that these organizers did this type of event. Hey, someone saying, thanks so much for joining me on this off night. But since this was the first time these organizers did an outdoor event, I think they didn't realize that this was going to be a thing that they had to worry about, because normally outdoor events, one of the stipulations is that your tent is required to be weighted in some way. Whether that's like cinder blocks or tent weights or sandbags or whatever, you just have to have your tent weighted in some way. And this event did not make that stipulation, and I think they just didn't realize that was a thing that they would need to tell people. But you gotta tell people things, because yeah. Because yeah, we had a couple of tents that just completely went end over end and plowed into other people's stuff. I was just a couple aisles over from one, and I saw it like lift up and start to take out like the whole table of stuff that was under it. And thankfully, it didn't get far and like hit anyone else's tent before the people who were, in charge of it grabbed it and stopped it from going any further. That's not where I want it. But yeah, in the like after action report email, but one of the organizers was like, "So now that we know about the wind situation, tent weights are going to be required." It's like, yes, good plan. Should definitely do that. Wait, no, I don't know where that character went. Where are you supposed to be? When to outdoor events can be a real issue. I used to sell pottery at the local state fair grounds, and it was definitely essential to secure the tents. Yeah, absolutely. Definitely do not want to deal with rogue tents flying around. Trying to remember where all the various things and stuff in the background are. All right. And then we have one more over here that we need to do. But yes, the night market was really great. I had a really great time. And it was also just like people were really like were really pleasant overall. Like we're just super pleasant and nice. It's just very nice to have all of these very chill, pleasant people who were like happy to be there and happy to see stuff and talk with you about art and everything, and it was really cool. And I sold a whole bunch of my comic books or real books screen print. Like I sold so many of that guy. So many of my little screaming possum. All right. All right, everything is roughed in. It was good. It was a very good event. It went super well. I sold a bunch of stuff, had a good time. The only like the wind was a challenge, but we were able to manage it. I only had one slight nervous breakdown when I was like in the middle of trying to set up and the wind like wouldn't let up. And so like once everything is in place, it's a lot easier to deal with. But while you're like in the middle of stuff not being fully in place yet and you're still like trying to struggle to get it set up and so the wind is still like really really overpowering you, I was just a little bit starting to have a breakdown. Because I was just like, "Oh my god, I can't even get set up. It's gonna ruin all my stuff before I can even get it done." Ah! But it was fine. It was fine. It was just frustrating, so I had a moment. And I guess there's gonna be a couple more of those later this summer. So there's gonna be one in July, but I am camping that weekend, so I will not be able to do that one. And then Yeah, it's like I have a pretty good routine for setting up in general, but not whilst also battling the wind. Okay, I gotta look something up real quick in my concept art folder. I'll make sure I'm getting this guy's outfit correct. Do 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 do. Now the question is, what did I name that file? There we go. All right. But anyway, so yeah, there's going to be one in July, there's going to be one in August. I will be at the one in August. So I'm looking forward to doing that again. And then in the meantime, there's also the Bangor Sidewalk Art Festival, which happens in the daytime, and that's like right in downtown instead of out on the waterfront. They like shut down part of downtown to traffic and make it just all foot traffic. And that's another really fun one. So I'm hoping that goes well. I'm looking forward to it. These art festivals are uh, a lot of fun. I like the way that they go. If nothing else, it's nice to just like spend the day outside hanging out instead of like stuck in a convention center. Seems like a really minor issue, but it's nice. It's nice to just like be able to have some fresh air. Like, cause even if your day goes badly and you don't sell a lot, it's like, oh, I had a nice day outside. Just good to hang out outside. Do. Where's my script? No, it was before the heat wave, thankfully. It was actually pretty cool that day. Ultimately, by like evening, I was kind of chilly because I think the high that particular day was like 75. And then with the wind, by the time the sun went down, it was like mid 60s. I was like, oh, I'm actually kind of chilly. It is Wednesday. I only did Wednesday this week because so last week I didn't stream because there was an election. And so I was busy all day Tuesday, and then on Wednesday I was still just exhausted. So I just didn't last week. This week I was going to stream yesterday, but we had a family emergency crop up, and it kind of threw my whole day into chaos, and I was not able to get home and ready in time to stream. So I was like, well, I will make up for it and do this on Wednesday instead, which is what I'm doing now. Okay, so they've like taken off their armor at this point. This is like taking place while everybody is at camp. So he's not wearing all his layers of armor, but he's still wearing like a surcoat type, like a quilted surcoat type situation. So yeah, the next event that I currently actually have confirmed and scheduled is going to be the Sidewalk Art Festival in downtown Bangor. So if you're in the Bangor main area, you should check that out. That's going to be the 8th? 6th. The 6th. I don't even know. Yeah, it's going to be the 6th of July. I was like, I know it's like the first weekend, but I know that July starts in like a weird day because it starts on a Monday. Yeah, so July 6th is the Bangor Sidewalk Art Festival, and I will be there for that. And hopefully we have good weather for that one. However, before then, I should have something else. It's just not 100% confirmed yet. Because look, I got to show you guys something. I got these. Ugh. I got these in the mail. Look. I have a whole case of them. It's the whole thing. It's all done. And we're officially launching. The official public launch is the 28th. And so I'm talking with my local-ish bookstore to do like a launch party type thing. But I don't have like confirmed, like it's still just kind of, we're still trying to figure it out. Hey, Hungry, thanks so much for joining me. Yeah, so I don't have exact details on that yet. Hopefully I will this time next week. But look, it's so pretty. It exists. It's real. I still can't believe it's real and it's done. Wild. Well, look at that. And look, we got a bunch of nice like pull quotes from people that are on the back. It's so nice. So nice. Yeah, and pretty much all of the Kickstarters have been fulfilled at this point. The only ones that are not done are, there's a box sitting next to me. Right? I did a bunch of these on stream. But yeah, the only ones of these that are not in the backers' hands yet are the ones sitting in a box next to me that I signed and that I have to ship out to Jeremy to sign. And then he's going to send to the backers. So it's just the signed hardback copies that have not reached their destination yet, and they should be reaching their destination before the public launch, which is on the 28th of June. Everybody else either has theirs or it's like in the mail on its way to them at this point. I think we've received confirmation that like the overwhelming majority of them have been delivered. If for whatever reason you were supposed to get one and you haven't, and you're not one of the like 6 sitting in a box next to me right now that I was going to mail out today before I realized that the post office was closed today, then then yeah, message or email me or Jeremy and just be like, "Hello, where is my book?" And we will try to figure it out because we did all of the fulfillment. We didn't have like a third party company doing it. It was all like print on demand and shipped from the printer to everyone. So I can't 100% rule out that the printer might have screwed something up when we ordered them to be mailed to you. But it's also completely within the realm of possibility that we just screwed up and didn't send you one because we're humans and there were a lot of orders to process. And Jeremy and I just kind of tag teamed it and did a whole bunch of sitting there processing orders over a couple of days. So yeah, that's super exciting. My local-ish bookstore, we should have a launch event scheduled relatively soon. I'm preferably for that weekend. I'm just trying to iron out the details with them. Uh, so yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited about that. It was just so cool when those showed up. I was like, "Oh my gosh, it exists. It's here." I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. I'm not crazy about that. Let's see if we have like this. Do 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 do. Have this like big old rock over here. Do 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 do. Hey, it's Deargo. How have you been? Okay, I'm struggling to get this gesture to do what I want it to do. Doing okay. Trying not to go outside. Mood. Did in your part of the state, did you get that giant thunderstorm that randomly rolled through this afternoon? Because it was very hot and sunny here all day, and then all of a sudden I look outside and it's dark and it starts rumbling, and I'm like, oh no. And I I was just like, okay, well, it appears that we are about to have a spot of weather. I'm just about done with my work for this afternoon, so I'm gonna go inside and like sit and watch the storm out the window. That'll be fun. And then I look out the window and I see that there is a load of laundry on the clothesline, and I'm like, "Oh, no." And so I race outside, and as I race outside, I see that I also left the windows rolled down on my car, and I'm like, "Oh, no." So then I run back inside and get my keys and roll up the windows to my car and then run out and rip all the clothes off the line and run back inside. And about 30 seconds after I get back inside, it starts raining. I was like, okay, that was a little too close for comfort. Could hear it but didn't get it. Yeah, the thunder and lightning went on for a long, long time. Like we got it was super blustery here for a bit, and a bunch of trees came down. Um like trees down all over the place, and we lost power for like an hour and a half because something somewhere knocked out a power line. Yeah, it was it was pretty dramatic. And I guess I looked on the thunderstorm warning we got said that there could have been hail, but we did not get any here. It did pour for a while, but then once the wind and the rain kind of had passed, the thunder and lightning still lasted for a long time, and you could tell they had moved off and were not nearby anymore, but you could still hear and see them for a long, long time after the rest of the everything else had kind of moved on. It was very dramatic. The localish bookstore is in downtown Bangor. Yes, it's the Briar Patch. That's I don't really have anything closer. Like that's about as close as it gets. I will also be arranging something with Galactic Comics. They're out on the Hammond. They're out on Hammond Street in Bangor as well. Um, but I have known the owner of the Briar Patch for many, many, many years at this point, so they always get first dibs when it comes to trying to schedule stuff. All right. There we go. Suitably kind of casual. I don't really care what you're saying to me. Pose from Kamaria here. Oh yeah, so there's actually two different comic stores in Bangor. One of them is Top Shelf, that is right downtown on Main Street, and the owner of Top Shelf sucks, and I do not deal with him. I tried to forge any type of relationship with that guy, and he was actively hostile to the attempt. So I was just like, okay, well, I guess I'm not gonna bother with you then, sir. So yeah, I just don't deal with him, and I wouldn't recommend dealing with him. Like he sucks. He sucks. He's just mean and rude. I have no idea how he stays in business, or rather, I have an idea. He probably like rented that space a long time ago, and the rent is fairly low. And I imagine he does a lot of business like on eBay that probably floats the store. because like nobody's ever in there, but whatever. Um, but yeah, Galactic is a newer comic shop, and the people who run that shop are delightful and are super nice. And they're trying to expand to a nice, bigger space. But yeah, that's on Hammond Street. So definitely worth checking out. Oh no. Oh goodness. Sorry about that. Yeah, they're actually gonna get into a larger space by the sounds of it. That's what they're working on. Yeah, it's very good. And they also, oh yeah, I don't think I got to tell you guys about Galacticon because that happened. Thank you. The weekend between the last time I streamed and Election Day, they did a little 1-day comic event in Brewer, Maine called Galacticon, and it was really nice. It was pretty small, and because it was a first year event in a fairly small space, but it was really chill, and everybody again was very nice and very enthusiastic. And the organizers were very friendly, and it was a good time. People who were there were like, I want to see some comics. I think comics are cool. And that is the type of crowd that I like to spend time with. So it's a good time. And hopefully next year it'll be with a little bit more because I kind of threw this convention together a bit at the last minute. And so hopefully next year with a little bit more preparation, it'll be even better. But it was a nice little local show. I had fun with that. That was the Galactic Comics folks who threw that together. Let's see. I'm a little overdue. We're in even less than the last 10 minutes. And I'm going to quickly go over the YouTube things while I work on this last panel over here a little bit in a minute. Well, last one for this evening that I'll be working on. So I shall remind you, I'm Amanda Call, and this is my channel. I am doing these little live streams here on YouTube pretty much every week. Usually it's Tuesday. This week it was Wednesday because life. But next week it should be Tuesday again, barring any other silliness going on. This comic that I am working on here is my webcomic, Age of Night. You can read Age of Night, the whole thing so far, for free at my website, ageofnight.com. That's AGEOFNIGHT.com. I upload a new page just about every Wednesday, again, barring life being ridiculous. So shortly after I go offline here, I'll be uploading a new page this week. And you'll be able to read it there. And while you can read the whole thing for free, there are a few ways you can support me if you think that what I'm doing is cool. You can become a patron at patreon.com/ageofnight, spelled the same way as the comic. Patrons are always going to get their pages a week early. So the page that you'll get publicly tonight, they saw last week, and tonight when that page goes live, they will get next week's public page uploaded on Patreon. So that's pretty cool. And also, you can get other things like free comics for signing up, behind the scenes sneak peeks, other projects I'm working on, all of that kind of good stuff. And it also is just very helpful to me, and I appreciate it. Just looked it up on the street. It's right across from the growing place. Yeah. Don't go much now that the kids raged out, right? Yeah, growing place was like indispensable when the kids were younger, especially. You can also find me on other social medias at Amanda Call Art or at Age of Night. I have accounts parked on most of them, and whether or not I'm at all active is a completely separate issue, but there's only so many hours in the day and so much social media-ing I can deal with. All right. So I was gonna do it for this evening. We started with a blank page. Well, I had panel borders on this page. That was about it. And a couple of perspective grids. We have all 6 panels roughed in at this point, and I have finished the pencils to one of the panels and started finishing the pencils to the next panel. So next week we should be able to continue and get a whole bunch more of the pencils on this page done. So thanks everybody for hanging out with me this evening, and I will see you next time. Bye.